members of the South African Police Service working alongside the SANDF, or soldiers. They are in the area of Germiston, and that's where we find Newzroom Afrika's Nqobile Madlala. Nqobile, good morning to you once again. A number of people being made to lie on the ground by the law enforcement. This is a takedown approach, Nqobile, that I think many South Africans have now become familiar with, given a previous case involving a gas leak that led to people dying. But the questions are going to come, Nqobile, as to what happens after these people have been arrested in this way, because the reality is that many of them have possibly been let go.
Well, yeah, Toli, that is the big question. In fact, I did speak to the Brigadier about it, and what he said is that they do their part. And of course, their part being they ensure that they check that the people are not linked to some of the crimes that are taking place. I'm talking about fingerprints. So the investigation continues far beyond just them being laying on the ground or being taken. We understand at this very point, Oli, you'll see that they are now standing up. But that's because 15 of them now are going to get into a truck and they'll be taken to the police station. And that's where, of course, where that part continues, which would be the fingerprints, the taking down, the ensuring that they can be linked to some of those cases. But, of course, you will remember that Primrose has been affected quite greatly when it comes to illegal mining, when it comes to the crime that's taking place in the area. So it would be a great deal for a lot of the people in this community to actually see some of these people, if they are linked to these cases or linked to a crime, actually going to jail, because that means that's one less perhaps people that they have to deal with when there are issues. You will remember that Boksburg leak as well was also linked to illegal mining that was taking place here, and you'll remember how many people lost their relatives and lost their family members because of what was taking place in Primrose. And of course, what you're seeing now, Oli, is that part where they are arresting people. But there's another aspect to this, and I want you to look closely, Oli: immigration services. So some of the people also are being taken by Home Affairs. As you can see, they are being taken and they are being questioned in terms of how are they in the country, do they have documentation. We heard some of the representatives here asking in terms of do they have the right documentation. He was asking about South Africans that are here, if they could provide their documentation, those that are not from the country, if they can also provide the documentation. That manpower, Oli, this is the manpower that is currently outside. This is not the only area, of course, that is currently cordoned off. As you can see, there's SAPS, there's SANDF, there's even the military police itself. And you can see that area there, which is the informal settlement. This is the area where they started in, where they walked in to just sort of search. You will remember that a lot of people that have spoken about illegal mining and a lot of criminality in the area have always linked it to informal settlements. Of course, these are allegations, Oli, and they've always said that there's somehow an illegal informal settlement where everything takes place, and then there's a movement to some of the neighborhoods. But of course, again, these are allegations that have been said by some of the leaders in the area that have spoken to us in the past, but that takedown currently taking place and perhaps providing that much relief that has always been asked for by the people that live in the area. You'll remember those stories they have told us in the past about how they tormented, some of them talking about the fact that even in their homes they are scared to live in their homes. And true to that issue, you will remember that we were speaking now to the owner of the property, who has said that some of these people have been open enough to offer him to work with him, to say that he must provide them with the space, but they will be bringing in their sand, and that they'll be bringing in their guns. And of course, you will, excuse me, sir, and that's of course affecting some of those communities, because the communities in this area will tell you about how many they hear about gunshots at night and so on. So these are some of the attires that the police have spoken about, which is what they've attached to illegal mining, the lighting, which would be the shoes as well. Let's try and get a reaction from here. Baba, monga sukhulume nje nathi uqhamukapi?
Qamuke eMozambique.
Okay. Wenzani ubaba la?
Ubaba mina nginababa nginamama.
Okay, wena wenzani la?
Oh, angiyaphanda.
Uyayiphandela, uphanda nhlobo nokuphanda?
Hayi mina bengisebenza contract ebuqaleni. Ngashelwa umkhukhu lapha, ngashaya yonke into yami. Isigwaje lokho ngiqala manje August.
Manje baba, wena njengoba ugqoke kanje, angithi athi amaphoyisa abantu abagqoke kanje bahlala lapha ya emgodini bamba igolide. Ngabe wena uyalimba igolide?
Ya mina ngiyalibamba kodwa angikhona abanye hamba abalazi. Mina ngazi lutho ngiqala manje.
Okay, uneminyaka mingaki?
19.
Ufike kanjani la?
Lapha mina ngithathe ubhuti wami sele songithola.
All right. Siyabonga kakhulu ukukhuluma nathi. Well, Xoli, a 19-year-old from Mozambique, he's saying that he does, in fact, go into illegal mining. He says it's just the two of them, him and his brother. He's here because he has no form of income. And, of course, this is the income that they used to, and he's now being taken by immigration officers that are going to investigate more in terms of what is taking place. He says that he's not the only one. There's quite a lot of people that they work with, illegal mining being one of the issues that is affecting this community. The way that he's dressed up has been described. This is the people that go into digging illegal mining, and also described as the owner was saying that some of the people come here that have asked him to work with him, and they are now taken by immigration officers. And you will remember that they are part of that force or that team that is currently working here in Primrose, as we have heard from the police, that it has been sealed to ensure that these people are arrested. Another gentleman there being arrested, he is from the scrapyard, again being one of the issues that has affected the owner. He says his scrapyard does not work currently, and there's a gentleman who has been found in that scrapyard where people are currently working without the owner's permission.
Nqobile Madlala, live for us in Germiston, that's in the east of Johannesburg. It's a police working alongside the South African National Defence Force, including the immigration services. Those officials also providing vehicles in order to take people who are suspected of being in the country illegally. Essentially, this is dealing with the scourge of illegal mining in South Africa. That extensive coverage from Nqobile Madlala, bringing us up to speed about the work that law enforcement is undertaking.